What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. So, some of you who watch my channel know that I'm a hustler. Alright? I don't have a real job. I haven't had a real job in a long time. I've actually never worked 40 hours a week. The idea of that just always terrified me ever since I was a young child. I would hear of the 40 hours a week thing, and my dad, for example, I don't think ever worked 40 hours a week. He worked like 50, 60 hours a week plus, and probably still does to this day. And just witnessing that with my eyes and mind made me not want to do it, of course. There was always something deep within me that was like, we can't be meant for this. Especially seeing how you have a man and a woman, right? And they get married, let's say. They live together, and then every day they go their separate ways like that. Only to come back at like 6 or 7 or 8 at night and basically undo their tidiness. You know, like when you get ready for work, you do your hair, your face, everything, and you dress nice, you dress to impress, and then you finally get home and you like let loose, you're like, geez, and you just crash out. You know, isn't it just weird how that's kind of the way of being that is normal in terms of how we are to be around our like husbands and wives, spouses, significant others, or whatever. Like you get your best just to leave the damn house and go and see other men or other women out in the workplace at your best. You know what I mean? And you always try to present yourself in your best manner. So all that stuff is like heightened when you're in the workplace. And then you come home and it's a different story. But the video's not about that. But I mean, that's just a very significant thing about it all that I knew was like really off, you know? And then another thing. Why the hell would I want to go out and kiss some other man's ass all day just to come back home and go do it again tomorrow for the next 40 or 50 freaking years of my life? And then I can finally quit when I'm old and incapable, basically. You know what I mean? Like when you retire. Of course, you could stay healthy, eat right, exercise, drink a lot of water, eat a lot of garlic, honey, things like that. But nonetheless, you're going to be like 65 years old, all right? I just don't really think it's going to be as fun as what it was when you were like 20, 30, 40. But you know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of what it is. You got to go there and listen to a boss, and he's going to tell you what to do. And how does that look in front of your lady? When your lady knows that you go out and you kiss some other man's ass all day. But even worse, far worse, is to have a lady who you're with who has to go and kiss some other man's ass. You know what I'm saying? You know what that must do to her psyche? When every day she walks out of your household, out of your dwelling space that you two share, where like orders are set or whatever, and then she goes to see another man, and she has to listen to his demands, and he makes more money than her. What the hell? When did this begin? It's no wonder divorce rates are so freaking high. And all that stuff terrified me. I just knew it. Even in my subconscious, I was like, hell no. It's like, I can't imagine you're married to a lady or whatever, and she's going to go out and kiss some other man's ass every day. What the hell? I sure don't want to do that. Why the hell would she want to do that? And more importantly, imagine the detrimental effects toward our relationship in such a situation. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like as a man, doing that stuff's enough. Can you imagine a woman who has to deal with, like, the hormonal stuff every month and all that? I just don't think they're made for that. Or if you want to go the other way, if they weren't made, let's say, I don't think they were evolved like that either, you know? Whichever way you spin it. I don't think they were meant to do that. And hell, I don't think I was either. How nice it would be to just tend to the garden and get up with the sun and do the tasks at hand outside with your little dog at your side or whatever, you know. I mean, I found a sidewinderish way of doing that. Like I said, I've never worked 40 hours a week. I don't have a real job, all right? I'm a hustler. And YouTube is part of that hustle. In fact, it's becoming a larger and larger part, so thank you all for your support. And if you will become a patron, I don't have any sponsors. Again, I don't want to kiss anybody's ass. You know? I'm not saying I won't do it in the future. I just don't know. I'd rather take a financial hit to quite an extent than have sponsors. All right? Than have some little product that nobody cares about. Just annoying everybody with it and just kissing somebody's ass. Maybe I'll make my own products. I've actually done that. I don't have one on me right now, but yeah, become a patron, though, if you want to support me. Links in the description below. But to me, it was always just unbelievable how one could commit so much of their time to working for someone else or for some entity that cares nothing about you, that only cares what you can do and provide for it with, like, no reciprocation. You know what I mean? It just sounds wretched. And that's why I've pretty much decided to avoid that at all costs. Like, I mean, at this point, I'm married. All right. So actually, I've actually made myself a bit more vulnerable. But fortunately, I've married a great person who's with me on all of this, you know, and is very, very helpful. So I probably could do actually better in my current situation. But I mean, it's really important who you marry, obviously. You know, some of the rich guys say that, you know, it's really, really important who you marry. It's like the most important thing. But previous to that, I mean, I'd rather just be a freaking hobo or something than have to go out and be a slave, you know? That's why it just boggles my mind how people, they'll commit to these layers and layers of bills and debt. Like, I've never had a new car. My dad offered me one when I was 20 years old, about to go off to school in California. I test drove a new car, and he was going to buy it for me. And I said, I really thought about it. And I was like, this thing's like, in those days, you know, this thing's like $30,000. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, that thing I've been driving since high school, those couple cars that I've been through were like $2,000. It's like, what's different from those and this? I was like, this seems like there's a lot more plastic in it. This is $30,000? And you got to pay interest on this? Are you kidding me? He was going to pay for it, but I was like, I didn't want to be like obligated with that later, you know? And I knew, well, in 5 or 10 years, this is going to be just, in 5 years, this is just going to be any other car on the road. It's going to be a piece of junk. I was like, I just wanted to be so far away from that. I didn't even want a new car, even though I didn't have to pay for the damn thing, So I bought something that was like 10, 15 years old. I think it was 15 years old. It was a horrible choice. It was a Dodge Stealth. Really bad idea. I wanted it for the style, so I'm not saying it was perfect. But still, it was better than the other thing. I paid like $2,000 for it. Piece of junk. Don't buy anything by Dodge. Or Mitsubishi for that matter. That was before I discovered Toyota. I'm just saying. But and then the compiling things. The subscriptions. Who watches that garbage anyway? Oh, get Amazon Prime, you get the little TV shows. Oh, get Disney Plus, you get the movies and all that other brainwashing garbage. All that other Marxist garbage. You could sit there and fill your mind with Marxist propaganda and world-destroying garbage. You can pay for it too. Yeah, that's a great idea. Why the hell would you waste your money on that complete trash? I'd rather just sit outside and stare at the friggin' sky. And I don't even get charged for that. Granted, I do it in my yard, where I pay taxes on, but I'm paying taxes on the yard anyway. You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, I'm not perfect. I mean, I do watch movies sometimes. And admittedly, I watch some Disney movies, all right? The old ones. And yeah, there's a bunch of propaganda, brainwashing, BS in those too. But I mean, the music, I don't know, the emotion, it's just, I go in and out of being interested in that stuff. We watch Lord of the Rings as well, but I'm just saying, the fact that people bury themselves alive. You get a car. It's got to be the worst thing you can do. Get the new car. Why the hell would you get a new car? You dumbass. I really don't mean to be mean. I'm sorry. I'm joking. You're not really. Well, you are a little bit for doing that. All right. But you can still go back, I think. You could sell it and count your losses, but maybe you're not in that position. Maybe you don't want to. I'm just saying, it's got to be one of the worst things. And then you get all these subscriptions. Well, the next to the car is the credit cards. Remember, I had a credit card when I was 25 years old at Best Buy, or I like to call it Worst Buy. I was over at Worst Buy, right? And there's this $900 TV, this Sony Bravia, state of the art. And it was a good deal at the time, believe it or not. You gotta be kidding me. It was a 46-inch. This is in like 2011, like $900 some dollars was like a great deal. You see how inflation hasn't really hit those? Isn't it kind of odd? It's almost like they want us to have a massive TV in the house that we almost don't even have to pay for, so we can just sit there and turn into potatoes or something. But yeah, I bought that. 18 months no interest with their little credit card at Worst Buy. And I got to pay it a couple months, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Couple minutes in, I was like, that was a bad idea. And I knew it was a bad idea. I tested it, all right? I wanted to test the spirits. So I tested those spirits. And I saw that they were not good. So I said to myself, once I pay this off, I will never get a credit card again. For these purposes of paying something off, all right? And I never did, except for one time, but it wasn't to pay things off. And this is what I didn't exclude, or this is what I did exclude from that sort of promise to myself. I knew that, well, you might have to get like a house someday or something, and you might have to have a good credit score, so you might have to build up your credit. But if you do get a credit card, you're going to pay it off right away. You're just going to use it to build a credit. And this is exactly what I did. And I only did it for a couple of months, and then I stopped. I did it to finance the house. I needed a better credit score. So they're like, oh, well, looks like you're a hustler. I mean, you're not really, where the hell are you getting your money? Let's see here. Well, they knew I was getting the money, but when you're a hustler, it's a little different when you don't have that that straight consecutive paycheck every single month, well, the same and all that. So this was like 10 years ago now. So I got a credit card and I just paid it off every month to build up the credit so I could finance a house. And I told myself, the one thing I'm going to finance in my life is going to be my one dwelling place, and that is it. It's like, I'm not going to pull leverage and try to buy another house with credit. I'm not going to get a credit card. I'm not going to get a car. I'm going to vastly limit myself with all these stupid streaming services. I do have YouTube Red. I like YouTube Red. I mean, you can watch private creators' content on there, of course, ad-free. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good thing. I advocate for it. Because I like YouTube. They're not perfect, obviously, but I like YouTube. You know what I mean? Get the YouTube Red. But those are just kind of the big things. And more videos to come on this topic, but I'm really curious what you guys have to say about this. I think that's where it begins. And the reason I'm thinking about it is because I'm just shocked how many people talk about this stuff who are stuck. Like, I made one video, I quit 9 to 5, from the inspiration of watching some other video that came up on my feed of some guy talking about it. Even though I never really worked a 9 to 5, I just kind of called it that. And I was just shocked at the comments. Just everybody's like stuck in it. Just stuck in doing something they don't want for like their whole freaking lives. And I think that they bury themselves. And then I have this friend who wants to get out of the rat race. He has a couple of kids. He's paying child support. All right. He wanted to work it out. His lady left him, as far as I know from the story. But nonetheless, there's a lot on his plate, and he wants to go out and become a hustler now too. He's good with cars. He's a mechanic. He could do it on the side, but do it full time. But it's a lot to risk. You know what I mean? He's getting paid pretty good money. But yeah, it just kind of, I can't help but, to me, this stuff is just simple. It's like easy. But I don't know if people really realize the core of it, where it all stems from, and then they got themselves in quite a situation. But there's probably still hope. But nonetheless, I just wanted to talk about it. I'm curious what you guys have to say about that stuff in the comments below. If you want more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the page. Welcome to Meditations from the Iceman, with the Iceman, by Iceman, Meditations by Iceman. And I'll see you tomorrow. Peace be with you.